What's up, guys? Mark with Solar CrossFit here to help you have a better impact on the people under your care. Today we're going to be talking about how to use a microphone to your advantage to show that you can have a large group of people in your class and still take amazing care of every last one of them, be able to make contact with each and every one of them, and be able to make sure every single one of them is moving well and knows what's going on, right? It's really important that everybody knows what's going on. First step, make sure that your voice is loud enough, right? I'm going to turn myself on. All right, so my microphone's on. You never want to be singing into the microphone like you're not really confident in your voice. Project confidence, talk in a confident manner. People will learn to listen for your voice whenever your voice is on the microphone, right? Also, you don't have to yell into the microphone. The days of yelling are over because you now have a microphone. And it's amazing. Your voice is about to be saved times a million, right? So don't be too soft. Don't be super crazy loud and blow up people's ears, right? I'm going to turn myself back on. Talk in a reasonable manner that people can understand you, and make sure that your voice is assertive and confident. Doesn't have to be too crazy loud, too quiet. Just needs to be assertive and confident so people can hear you. People get really annoyed when they can't hear you. That's why we use a microphone. They don't realize that they're getting annoyed. It's one of those little things that's behind the scenes kind of bothering them. And then they can't hear you when you're instructing. And then they don't feel like they know what's going on. And they feel like that maybe they get lost or whatever. We don't want to be doing that, right? So I'm not going to talk too much about why you need a microphone right now. Talk about that in another video. But for today, we're talking about how to use a microphone really, really well to your advantage. So again, I think I talked in a previous one about where to place the microphone. It should be, the butt of the microphone should be either in a side pocket, not in a front pocket. This doesn't work. Either in a side pocket, like I have Lulu shorts on right now. Born Primitive has some too, that has some really good coaches shorts that have a side pocket. I believe Highlight has some too. Side pocket for guys, or if you're a lady, I highly recommend just doing right back here on your shorts, right there, and then you can do all your movements, and the cord is back down your shirt. All right, everybody see how I did that? All right, I can do all my squats, everything I need to do. I can coach handstand push-ups. I can do everything with the microphone on, and nothing gets interfered with, right? So I just turn myself on, and I say, so today we're going to talk about what kind of things to say on the mic. So anytime you're going to be addressing the group, the microphone's on. Anytime you're going to be explaining the WOD, I have on here some notes. Explaining the WOD, instructing class, giving directions, leading a group warm-up. These are all things that you have the microphone on for, right? Because they all have to do with addressing the group, right? Our goal is to build unity. We want to unify the group. So anytime we're addressing the group, we use the microphone, right? If you want to answer questions aloud that help the group gain clarification as to what's going on, that can be really helpful, right? So, okay, today guys, the WOD's going to be 10 sets of 3 back squats, right? You talk about what the WOD is as a group. And then you move into the warm-up portion. Okay, guys, I want everybody to lay on the ground. We're going to do some Supermans, maybe some hollow rocks, whatever it is that you're doing. And you go through explaining what's going on. Okay, I need everybody to grab a pair of dumbbells. So everybody get a partner and 1 dumbbell, whatever it may be. You're loud and strong over the mic so everybody can hear you, gain clarification, right? Somebody has a specific question. Hey, coach, I can't squat today because I have this issue with my knee. You don't sit there with the microphone on and say, oh, you can't squat today because you have the issue with your knee. I'm so sorry. Let's come up with a scaling option. Here, let's try these scaling options. And you bring them over here and work on scaling with them. No, instead you say, so you're talking to the group and somebody comes and has a question for you. You turn your microphone off. You deal with the concern that the individual has. Because if you got a class of 20 people, the remaining 19 don't need to know about the one issue that they have. Not that they don't care or don't love that person, but the issue is you explaining all this information aloud to this one person, all these other people are just going to get confused by it. So just have your conversation with that one person, and then let everybody else work on the other things that you've already given them to be working on. All right, and then whenever you're ready to address the group again, you just turn your microphone back on. As simple as just reaching back there like I just did. All right, I just reached back in there, turn it off, piece of cake. So if somebody comes and asks me a question that the rest of the group might benefit from clarification. You know, a lot of times people get confused as to rep scheme again, right? Let's say there's a 10-minute AMRAP and it has some sets of like, maybe there's like a buy-in to your AMRAP, right? So we run a mile first. Let's say it's a 20-minute AMRAP. We'll run a mile first and then do as many rounds of Cindy as possible in time remaining. And they ask you this question, they're like, you're talking to everybody, they're like, okay, so I run, and then I do 5, 10, 15, then I run again, and 5, 10, 15, you're like, hey, you know what, that's a great question, let me tell everybody about it. So maybe you have the microphone off, they come ask you this question, and you're like, you know what, just 1 second. Hey guys, real quick, just to clarify, maybe you're going to run first, and then you won't be running again. After you complete the run, you're going to be doing as many rounds and reps of 5, 10, 15, 5, 10, 15, 5, 10, 15 as you can. So, good question. Liz, you just asked that question. Thank you for asking that. Again, it's just run one time, and then 5, 10, 15, 5, 10, 15, something like that. Right? That'll be a great use of answering that person's question to help advantage the rest of the group, to help them gain clarity as to what's going on. And with that, the next thing I have on here is build community. This is a very powerful tool for making sure that everybody in the group feels connected, right? You can say everybody's name at some point in time. I don't necessarily always feel like you have to say it over the microphone, but it's a great way of bringing the group together. So use it to your advantage in that way by addressing the group, right? Maybe you tell a joke here and there that everybody in the group can appreciate, right? That could be a great way of building community and unifying, but make sure that whenever you do tell any jokes or anything that you do that might be funny or whatever, make sure it has to do with everybody in the group. They can all directly appreciate the comedy that you're bringing. If only a few people in the class appreciate the comedy that you're bringing, leave it at home. It's not worth it. That's not what we're looking for here. We're looking for unifying effects, right? And the only way you can unify the group is by only bringing about things on the microphone that everybody in the group can appreciate. What's an example of that? Hey guys, today we're doing 59 burpees. I don't know whose idea it was. It was madness to do 59 burpees, but it was me. Something silly like that, right? I'm the programmer here. I can say that. I'm actually not the programmer anymore. But a joke along those lines, and something like that everybody can appreciate. So now we're going to talk about some examples of what not to do on the microphone. So what not to say on the microphone? Do not address individuals on the microphone. That is not appropriate, right? It's not appropriate to give specific scaling options directed to one person. It's not appropriate to tell a personalized joke on the microphone. Haha, yeah, you remember that one time you and me, we did this thing, it was so great. And then the other 20 people in the class didn't think it was funny because they weren't there, or they're like, haha, that probably was funny for you guys when you guys were there. Wish I was there, but I wasn't because I didn't get invited. Well, now you feel like a butt. You feel like a turd because you didn't invite them, and you don't realize the fact that you should now feel like a turd because you didn't even realize the fact that they wanted to go, right? So, off the mic when you make that comment, right? Stories that are not unanimously shared, understood, appreciated by all class members should remain off the microphone. If you're telling something about, hey, you remember this one time? Well, there was this thing we did. Sorry, I'm in kind of a dead zone here. There's someone driving by. There was this thing we did. It was so cool, but not everybody in your group participated in that thing. Off the microphone. If not everybody in your group experienced that story that you're going to talk about, leave it at home. Not on the microphone. Turn yourself off. Hey, you remember that one time? It was so funny. Right? If you're going to do something like this and be a little bit unprofessional at times, sometimes that kind of thing can be okay. It's good to be using, your freedom to build relationships with your individuals off the mic. That's the only thing with that. Do that, but do it off the mic. And don't let it distract from the flow that you're trying to maintain and the control that you're trying to maintain with your microphone. All right, anecdotal stories that were only experienced by a select few again. If it's not experienced by everybody, leave it at home, right? Unless everyone in the class can appreciate it. Talk about it later on, or talk about it off the microphone, right? Turn yourself off, move the mic, turn the microphone off, tell whatever that story is. Yeah, I can't believe this morning when I woke up, I was so freaking sore. I could barely squat. It was insane. right? I'm not addressing the group right now. I'm just addressing my friend who was in this class, or maybe 2 or 3 people. I'm building community with them. And I'm like, okay. All right, guys, whenever y'all done with that, back to whatever I'm doing, right? So if I talk about how sore I was for a minute, I talk about it off the microphone with a select group of people, and then I get back to it. Because the whole group doesn't need to know, oh man, coach was so sore. He must be so cool because he gets so sore. Like, no, leave that off the mic. Talk about it with a few people if you want to, right? Ideally, maybe some people who you're not particularly close with so that you can maybe develop that relationship with them, and then turn the mic back on whenever you need to address the group again, right? So, stories about experiences not everyone was present for. I talked about that a little bit earlier. If everybody wasn't there when you had that experience, and now you're talking about it again, well, someone's going to feel uncomfortable, or someone's going to wish they were there, or some people are going to just flat out not care. They're going to be like, why are you wasting my time talking about this thing that I wouldn't need you there for? So don't. Or if you're going to, turn yourself off the mic, then talk about it, and then come back to it. As long as it matches with your flow and the control that you're trying to establish. Alright, so remember that one time, there's a couple examples of this. Remember that one time we were bowling and Mark handstand walked down the bowling alley? That was so crazy. Like, that's hilarious. Like, can't believe he did that. But not everybody in the group needs to know about it, right? Remember that one time, that competition when Brooklyn did like 15 ring muscle-ups in a row with one arm? Man, it was so amazing. Like, that's good, but there's people in the class who are brand new and they've never gone to a competition, and the whole idea of competition scares the poop out of them anyways. So, like, off the mic, right? Turn the mic off and be like, man, remember that one time whenever Brooklyn did like 15 ring muscle-ups with one arm? It was amazing, right? Man, whoever you're talking about, man, yeah, man, that was so cool. Cool, well, you're going to get some ring muscle-ups today. Great. Boom, back on the mic. Okay, get the flow here? It's kind of making sense? So again, any jokes or comments that are not directly unifying or creating unity and community, turn them off the mic, right? Our goal is not to just fill up people's ears with mindless chatter or conversations, right? Our goal as a coach is to lead, to instruct, to inspire, and to unify, right? So we want to make it fun, but we also need to always be professional, right? Use the microphone to your advantage. Address the group with the microphone, address individuals without the microphone. When you go back to addressing the group again, just simply turn the microphone back on. All right? This is a very powerful tool, and it can totally amplify your impact on your clients. Use it and enjoy it, and good luck.